By the way, what chair do you have? Do you have the
I
same chair?
feel
No, you
real.
have a different
Yeah,
chair than me.
no, I was
But
feeling a
it's
little bit left out here because you guys both have the mesh chairs
the
and I don't have
ergo
one.
mesh chairs.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have one.
It's comfy,
No.
honestly. Like gets the neck. It's good. It's
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
I
this one has the lumbar too, the lumbar support. Oh
Yeah,
man, so nice.
yeah,
I
yeah.
need it. My back needs it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot, you guys are making me jealous. I have major FOMO right now. Well, welcome everybody to Pros Talking Prose. We are so excited to have you here, all 15 of you. And we have an amazing guest. This is the illustrious Troy, this, mediocre Stacey, and we've got the spectacular, amazing Michael Evans. And oh my gosh, you guys, this boy is like boy wonder. He has a kind of origin story that makes the most of us feel like we've been napping our whole life. He grew up in Long Island, right? And
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
you've devoured more books and YouTube probably than is healthy for a 13-year-old. And then by the time you were 13, you already wrote your first book. Is that right?
I did. Yeah, it means I just didn't have a lot of friends, but yes, I did.
That's not what that means. That's not what that means. But anyway, fast forward, you graduated high school early. He wrote over 1 million words in 1 year. Is that right?
Yeah,
That's
that was a fun year. That was a fun year.
What
that's a
year did
wild
you do
year.
that?
That would have been like I guess it was like not a calendar year, so a 12-month period between like mid 2019 to mid 2020.
I did it
Wow.
during 2020 from January to December. Did 1 million words.
So
Anyway,
let's just talk
that's
about
funny. We were
like
doing it
the
at the same
lack
time.
of
Sorry.
personal hygiene that was going on at that time. There was probably some days where there were not showers being taken, and
Oh, come on.
you
It
boys
wasn't
should have
that
been
bad.
you guys should have been yelled at by your mothers. And then what's amazing about Boy Wonder here is that he co-founded Ream, and it was an amazing tech startup that he basically bootstrapped, right, to nearly
Yeah,
400,000 a year. Wow. So now, are you still strategizing with Mr. Beast? Are you still with the dude, the man, the
I'm
myth, the legend?
I'm not with Mr. Beast anymore. I
Well,
quit
that's good because
like
you're busy.
yeah, I quit maybe 7 months ago, but
Okay.
do some like behind the scenes consulting work for creators that your kids probably know. But I or like kids list like if anyone's listening, your kids probably know them. But
Yeah.
I'm out of like full-time creator work because it's fun, but I think I'm the type of person who needs to create my own thing full time.
Yeah, yeah. I get the gist
Yeah.
of that from your whole like 1 million words in a year thing. Um, so anyway, while the rest of us were debating what font to use on our title page, Michael was pretty much rewriting the future of
Mhm.
publishing. So he kind of has his his pulse, his fingers on the pulse of the publishing world. So we're really excited to have Michael here today. I'm really happy to hear about what you're currently working on and kind of your insight, because from what I hear from Troy and from, because the man can't say enough good things about you, you probably have kind of a magic or crystal ball that you can kind of see the future with. So we'll see what you're thinking. But he
See what
currently,
comes out.
yeah, like
Yeah.
whoo, like let's put some misty smoke in the background. So tell us a little bit about what you're currently working on, Michael. Tell us, what is this tech thing that Troy is so excited about?
Well, first of all, I have equally good things to say about Troy. And I'm just meeting you like now, I think face to face in like a longer conversation because we met like what at a
we
conference.
yeah we met at Author Nation. Was it
Oh,
last year, Troy?
Author Nation last
Yeah,
Yeah,
year. Okay.
last
just
year.
over
It's been
pizza. It was over pizza, and yeah,
it was quick and it was
it was
great, but
quick.
I
Mm-hmm.
also think I'll have very nice thing to say about you after this podcast.
Oh, you're
We'll see
sweet.
though. You might
We'll
get
see.
you ask a wrong question. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We'll
Uh,
see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
absolutely not.
I could ruin that.
But yeah, I mean, what I'm doing right now is definitely by like probably a factor of 10x the craziest thing I've ever done. And with that, it's also the thing I'm most excited about. And what it is helping any storyteller, whether you write scripts, whether you write books, whether you write short stories, doesn't matter. Helping anyone turn their words, turn their story into movies, TV shows, any film using AI and able process basically we built it's called the movie machine by Creatorwood. Creatorwood's the overall platform. Built a machine that helps you do that in really less than a day, which sounds hyperbolic, but it's not because I could explain how. And then
Wow.
what we do from there is we've created a streaming platform that allows you to sell your films directly to viewers. You get 80% of the revenue, you get all of their emails. So you're basically selling direct to them. And it's really like if you imagine Kindle Direct Publishing, but for film, but then like this is also the machine that actually helps you make the films. Like that's what makes this all possible. It is what
Very
we've
cool.
and everyone obviously asks for pricing up front. So I'll just say it up front roughly what it is. We have a pricing calculator at pricing.creatorwood.tv. We have a lot of
We'll put that link
yeah,
in the
Yeah.
description.
I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
everyone asks because it's like, okay, what's the catch here? And I'd say like the catch is that there is an investment. It's not massive, but
Hmm.
it's not nothing. So to produce a film, I benchmark it right now at about $30 a minute, for like produced film. So you can produce, let's say, like a movie, for when you count regenerations and edits in, a 90-minute movie is roughly $4,000. You'll see that it comes out roughly
Wow.
that in our calculator. And that's like all in cost, right? So I like to think that like producing a movie or show now is about as expensive as it, is to produce an audiobook with a human narrator, which when you put it in that perspective is like incredible.
Hmm.
I spent $4,000 out of pocket publishing my first book, mostly did mistakes, but that was like, if anything, like that $4,000, that I spent 8 years ago now gets me a movie. And that continues to blow my mind more than anything else because we're going to have 1,000 times more movies made in the next 12 to 24 months that were made, like, period. Like it's the film explosion now.
Wow. 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 So
Yeah.
let me ask a question because I'm curious. What got you interested in doing this portion of the creator storytelling verse? Like, what made you think that the video was the way to go? What made you go this way?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like it weirdly like like when I share my like how I got here, it sounds like almost like this was the plan all along, but it wasn't, but I think it's what led me to see this. So Um, obviously, like I started off indie publishing in high school,
Mm-hmm.
got obsessed with this industry. But
Mm-hmm.
before, building, the software company I started in the author space and doing that, um, I was really like immersed in YouTube. And by immersed in YouTube, I mean like I was a YouTube creator. So I created like vlogs of my life to try and market my books. I ended up road tripping the country. I bought a school bus, filmed a lot of like insane videos. There's this one video of me, you can look it up on YouTube called Breaking 100 Laws in 24 Hours. Which is just such a
Okay.
weird thing to be known for. But there's this YouTuber, Eric, that I was like helping out with his ideation team at the time. And I was like, young story-eyed 19-year-old kid. And I ended up collaborating with him in a video where I jumped off the Santa Monica Pier. So that has 19 million views. And I
Wow.
was big into the YouTube space and absolutely loved it. But I'll tell you what brought me away from the YouTube space was like I love video. Like I'm the type of person that listens to audiobooks or watches videos. Like rarely am I actually reading a book anymore. It's not something I
Mm-hmm.
personally do. Um, but what was so tough about YouTube was like creating what's called like in Hollywood scripted content, right? Is very, very hard because traditionally producing scripted content, when you count in actors, film crew, is very, very expensive. And this type of scripted content you saw on YouTube was just not it. And what I found is
Mm-hmm.
myself, I was trying to script my life to turn it into a thriller novel. So that was completely unsustainable. I mean, it was very funny. It was cost effective, but the cost that I was paying for at times like risking my life, my dignity, all these things. So I returned back to the world of fiction, but YouTube never left me, and not even really YouTube, and it was like video, right? I loved video. Um, I was a science fiction author, so I've been always obsessed with technology, and from a very early days was like onto AI. A lot of the people you see like talking in the industry about AI
Mm-hmm.
are friends of mine behind the scenes. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
publicly, I'm very happy to say I'm friends with them, but like, I when I wasn't public about AI, it was like, I support you from behind the scenes. Can't go to war for you publicly. I don't want to risk my other business. But I was very, very early to it. I thought it was very interesting, but I didn't see like AI as actually being that interesting for writing from a business perspective. And I'll tell you why. It doesn't really change the industry at a systemic level.
Right.
And
Mhm.
it's because books were, and this is a weird thing to say, but books were already cheap to produce, right?
Hmm.
Meaning the time that it takes one human to produce a book, for me, it was like, maybe 2 weeks of full-time work. I got a first draft if I was like really locked in. And this is pre-AI, pre-chat GPT, all these things, right? And maybe like a week of polishing and editing and like feasibly, not that you do that every 3 weeks of your life. You
Right.
will get burned out. But like I could feasibly get a book out in 3 weeks very easily. And like, you hold a gun to my head, say, you got to get a book out in 3 weeks. I can get out something pretty good. And I'm not alone in that. I'm not a rock star. Like
No, no. Yeah.
listening, do that, right? A lot of you listening might even be able to be like, yeah, I could do it in a week. Great, that's amazing. Um, and I think there was this period of indie publishing, right? Becca Simon folks call it like the gold rush, where
Yeah.
fast
Mhm.
was like the thing, right? Because it was the
Hmm.
alpha. It was like there wasn't enough content. Therefore, like writing fast is really important. Long before the age of AI, that stopped becoming a competitive advantage, right? The truth
Mhm.
is that we're in a power law industry. Few titles are likely to sell most of your copies. And, the folks who've done really well are the folks who've figured out a franchise series and doubled down on it. And yes, writing faster in a franchise series is valuable, but writing faster for the sake of writing faster isn't, because there's already so much other competition for your stories out there. So therefore, AI theoretically makes it possible to produce content faster. Like there's two things that AI does. It theoretically makes it possible to produce content faster and cheaper, and theoretically could make it possible to produce better content. So on the faster and cheaper part, which has been most the fear, logically there's like no way that actually changes publishing. We're so far tipped on the supply and demand that there's way more supply that increasing supply by 10x doesn't really change the curve of how books are sold, right?
Right.
Now, in terms of the better conversation, yeah, that's interesting. But I think what we've seen is that AI alone has a tough time truly producing better stories than humans, and that it
That's
actually needs
true.
a lot of assistance from humans. Um, if we get into a sci-fi future where like we have like, the book machine, you press a button, the reader gets exactly what they want personalized to them at a super low cost. Um, I still don't think that's disruptive to storytelling, actually, because people still read books mostly based off of word of mouth and recommendations, which means that again, the power law exists. And yeah, maybe
Hmm.
there's an AI enabled, what I call centaur writer, you know, who's
Hmm.
dominating the charts, but that still means that like few people are going to make a living, which is still true today, right? And that
Hmm.
like, whether it's some like omnipotent organization that figures it out and just like builds 1,000 shadow ghost authors, which I don't think will happen, but feasibly that could happen, or 1,000 humans continue to just produce better stories for readers and get
Right.
ahead. That it doesn't like systemically change publishing. It's just an interesting technology. It's additive. Now,
Hmm.
Mhm.
you might be asking why I'm like obsessed with this changing publishing question, because in reality, like it's a very worthwhile pursuit to do anything that can help people, AI or
Okay.
not. Um, but I don't think my goal has ever been to like, you know, uh, be a part of publishing or be a part of storytelling in the system that is. I've
Hmm.
always been interested in how can we systemically shift storytelling to give power, true power, to indie storytellers, because I read this book years ago called The Story Paradox that I got obsessed with.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And that book changed my life because I was at this turning point where I was feeling defeated by these algorithms,
yeah. Hmm.
pushed down by big tech, and the kind of words which many folks in the industry maybe have heard me say, like storytellers of the world, became my rallying cry. I remember I was like I was literally 19, like a sophomore in college, dazed and confused, but I wrote out this crazy vision. It was like it was a synergy map, which I teach authors how to do now, but it was this massive like Walt Disney World vision of like what the world would look like if storytellers of the world. And I was like, I might be one of the few crazy people that believes like this is possible and I have to make this happen. So my whole life has really been built on me loving storytelling and technology, and then me having this moment where I realized that like storytelling and technology when put together are way bigger than anyone thinks. But the whole thing
Mhm.
is it has to be about empowering people. How can we take power away from existing systems and bring them to indie storytellers? So that therein explains, my passion for.
That's exciting. So yeah, so the whole idea about giving power to the authors,
Yeah,
basically power to the storytellers, that is a very cool. That's
You don't need
that's
a
why
yeah, and
I
I'll
do
be
what I do
honest,
in publishing, but that is
that's
that
what
is amazing.
that's what drew me to Michael in the first place was the whole storytellers rule the world. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Because I
Of
tell
course you
people
would
that
see
all the
that because
time.
you are a storyteller, you psycho.
Yeah, but it's more than that though, because it's like story is how we relate to the world. Like, how do you teach your kids to relate to a new situation? You
That's
tell them
true.
a story. We tell them a fairy tale. We tell them a story. We tell them some kind of a story that helps them to understand and relate to the world that they live in. Right?
Hmm.
That's how we do it. If somebody
Hmm.
wants to learn something, you say, well, for example, and you tell them
A
a
story.
story because
Hmm.
storytellers already rule the world.
So
It's just people
Which
don't understand that
they
storytellers rule the
well,
world
and it's
because they
like
don't
what
understand they're being told stories. They
and
don't
it's like what
understand.
Michael said, that there's just really like for most people, most indies, I see that they're, the publishing, like you said, the system of publishing has kind of been in place for, hundreds of years. And the indie publishing side of it is, of course, kind of like it's kind of revolutionized in the last 20, 30 years, but it's still very much kind of unchangeable. Troy and I, we've talked about these systems are kind of in place, and they're you can only do so much to speed up or slow down or produce better quality or whatever, but ultimately you still have to go through these very almost tedious tasks of the whole process. So you're right, the AI doesn't even really change that, but to be able to give more power to the indie authors, because what I think indie authors do is they come into this business, they see that all those cogs in the machine that they have to like put into place and figure out how they work and oil them and whatever, and which ones are outdated and which ones aren't, and it's very overwhelming. But to be able to, when you talk to them about other avenues of telling their same story, like movies, and like they their eyes gloss over and they're like, well, maybe one day some guy in Netflix land will like my story. But of course you never know. But with Michael's tool, I mean, now you've got the avenue of putting that into actual
create
visual. Yeah.
and have the platform too, where you can make money from it on A, your own terms, and B, really importantly, um, actually have control, right? Where, I mean, I spent years of my life trying to take down Amazon. Obviously, I didn't succeed in that.
Yeah.
I great company, but I didn't take down Amazon. Um, and you
Maybe
know,
someday.
well, yeah, maybe someday. But there's some really like nerdy, like technology business reasons about why that would have been an extremely uphill battle. But
Yeah.
I saw this as an opportunity to do something, you know, at that scale, but instead of designing a system where we transfer power from studios or AKA publishers to the tech platform or the network, we can instead transfer power from studios directly to indie storytellers. And that might sound like some made up fantasy, but it really isn't, because you get all the emails for every single person who purchases anything,
That's
follows
fantastic.
you on Creatorwood. So it's a social platform that you can disintermediate from any time and go anywhere else. And likewise, KU takes away pricing control from the creators, right?
Yep.
Where all of a sudden we are in this game where literally we have to price our work based on volume. Talk about gold rush. Like it's all about volume in KU. And
Mhm.
meanwhile, my big thesis around all of attention is that the attention economy is there's a great book called The Subprime Attention Crisis, that we like have financialized attention, but it's actually not really the right way to price, anything in the internet, just the easiest way to price things. And because of that, we've gotten into all these ad auctions and subscription models that
Yeah.
are actually destroying our world because we're
Mhm.
sucking attention away from people when in reality, what people want is connection, right? So
Right.
think about it this way. Would
Exactly.
you subscribe to Netflix just to get one show that you want? Yeah, that's all the churn going on every single month. It's I want one show here, one show there. Well, if you want one show and you're only going to pay $20 a month for it, why doesn't the creator get $20? Instead, that's not happening.
Right.
Netflix is disintermediated. So what we do is say, hey, and we haven't even come out with the subscription aspect yet, but you can subscribe to the overall Creatorwood platform. But you get coins when you do it. And so it's our own weird little currency, but it's not actually that weird because then what you do is you distribute coins to the creators at the price the creator sets. So it's never an intentional thing.
Fabulous.
The creator gets to say, this is my relationship with my viewer. This is the intention I want them to mark to watch this. And it's however they want to price it, right? So if a viewer wants to like come onto the platform and spend $20 a month just to watch one show, by all means, go for it. And that creator deserves pretty much all that money. The rest of the 20% that Creatorwood keeps, 10% of it's going to payment processing on average. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on the amount. And then, the rest is server costs, right? For the most part. So we
Yeah.
keep what we keep, but the creator gets the lion's share of what they charge, which is huge.
Michael, you
Yeah.
don't strike me as the type of person that would really scare easily, but does this scare you a little bit? I mean, can you see you pissing somebody else off really bad with this kind of model? And like, because I do. I'm looking down the road and I'm like, oh, Michael's gonna piss off some people.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I am moving out to San Francisco tomorrow. I think
Oh, okay.
compared to like previous companies I've run, I think this one has like a level of seriousness that
Yeah.
we need like we are like, we're in great shape as a business. There's no like pressure on us, and I'm grateful for that.
Well,
Uh
there's not any competition right now.
yes.
Is there anybody else doing this? I don't think there
We
is.
are extremely early. We're extremely
Hmm.
early. I think we
You're
have a
on a ground
vision.
floor.
Most people think it's crazy that storytellers are willing to pay to make their own movies because without that, the model doesn't make any sense. Because like, um, we would lose an unbelievable amount of money, like making these because the movies
Right.
cost us a lot of money to make. So we would be losing an unbelievable amount. So if people aren't willing to pay for them, it doesn't work. And I think people have doubted that viewers will support and go to creators directly. And I think it's because self-publishing is such a niche industry.
Hmm.
Barely anyone in tech and even the broader creator economy, like even the Mr. Beast people, barely know about this space. So I'm really like betting on that the business model and industry that we've built as indie authors, as imperfect as it is, what if we just go fix some of these systemic things, but then say like, what if we brought this to the entire world of film, which is at minimum 10 times bigger than the sandbox we're playing in. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna piss an incredible amount of people off,
Hmm.
which I'm happy to do so. But
I was wondering about that. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
oh,
I think
you don't scare easy.
the the only so the sort of like two paths we have here. Creatorwood is like a really cool tool and
Hmm.
it makes movies really easy because you just have to upload your book. We make all of your
Hmm.
storyboards, all of your shots, all of your characters. It makes the process that would, even with AI, take hundreds of hours. We make that process dramatically faster. We're talking 10, maybe even 20x faster and a lot simpler. But and that in itself is a really cool company. I don't want to understate that. But
Hmm.
that company is a race to the bottom because effectively, like, first of all, what happens once you have these films? You're uploading them to YouTube, you're uploading them to TikTok, but
Mm.
you're not making your money back there. Are you trying to sell it to Netflix? Are you trying to sell it to, like, that's not happening. The only way this works is if we build an ecosystem that allows people to create the films and make money
Hmm.
back. Not that everyone who makes a film is going to make their money back. Obviously, that's a crazy thing to promise. Most authors don't make money. I imagine most people who use this
On
platform
audiobooks or
make their
anything,
money
yeah.
back, right? Which I mean,
Yeah.
I'm up front to just be honest, right? Most people
Hmm.
who create a movie use the movie machine won't make the money back. Hopefully, they're happy with it. Hopefully, it's something that can make them feel really good. I think there's a lot of value to it, and I hope no one spends any money in the movie machine that's going towards rent next month or going towards food bill.
Right.
Right, right.
With that said, though, incredible that a relatively small amount of money in the grand scheme of things, right? I want to be very clear that it's not actually a small amount of money. It's not like $5, but it's a relatively small amount, can go so far. But how the only way this actually works though is people can create one movie, two movie, three movies. I have a season of 20 shows. To be able to have that kind of investment and spend $100,000 making movies over the course of a year, just like you'd spend $100,000 in your publishing business, we have to build an ecosystem that allows these indie creators to win. So in reality, like the only way this really works over the long span, and then in the short run, it's a lot of fun. But for us to create something sustainable and something that like really does what I want to do, which is not just give a cool toy to people, but give real power to storytellers, we have to win the film industry, which means that, short Netflix and we have to be bigger than them. So that is like a very, very real thing. And if someone's listening at Netflix, like, cool, great.
I
This
doubt
is
it,
how
but
it works.
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but Like I genuinely mean that. Like Netflix, we're coming for you.
Mhm.
Prime Video, we're coming for you.
That's awesome.
Disney, we're coming for you. We have to eat them all. But
Yeah.
I think with that, like um, there's going to be a level of firepower even behind what we're doing. That like I'm super excited to unleash the world, but this is not the type of company that you maybe necessarily bootstrap or just go like, hey, this is fun. Like this is a company where it's like, um, we also need like our own players, which we're already assembling, of like
Mhm.
our own powerful people who are bought into how we want to change the world. And I'm extremely optimistic that we can achieve this vision and do something incredible. Um, and even if we don't, it's going to be incredible along the
It's
way.
still going to be a cool ride.
It's going to
So,
help a lot of
yeah.
people.
Yeah. So
Well, I
Avengers
think
Assemble.
because it sets precedent for what can be done. So
Mhm.
regardless of whether it's just like, I mean, at the beginning of self-publishing, I mean, what Smashwords was the big deal? Well,
Mhm.
where's Smashwords now? Well, it's kind of absorbed into draft and digital. It's still out there, but it's not people's go-to place for like ebooks. But that's where it started as the go-to place for ebooks was Smashwords. It was a
Mhm.
proof of concept. And yeah, other companies came along, and then of course Amazon came along and ate everybody's lunch, right? But for the most part, I mean, you still make money other places. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, but it's proof that this can be done. I mean,
Well,
but I was interested. I'm glad you asked that question, Stacey. I'm like, I was interested in like, how is Hollywood really going to feel about this? Like, they're already, the Screen Actors Guild and that whole big strike thing, all centered around AI.
AI.
Although I will say, like, I'm selling my voice on 11 Labs and I've made money already, like a lot of money, a surprising amount of money.
Well, you have a great
But anyway,
voice, Troy. But my
um,
question,
but
yeah, it's a
it's
great
kind of
voice.
like with AI, like, especially with the use of AI,
Yeah,
not
I
only
wonder.
disrupting, but disrupting the movies industry with the use of AI, which many people in the industry have spoken out against. I
Mhm.
mean,
Hollywood is interesting because I think there's two things that will happen here. One is that Hollywood's not going to go away. Like
no.
Mm.
Creatorwood is like the new world, but just like indie publishing didn't completely take away from trad. Like
Mm.
that's one thing. Two is I think these worlds work together. I think if someone does really well on a platform like Creatorwood, there could be many reasons for them to want to sell some of the rights to Netflix, because they keep all the rights on Creatorwood, right? So like, there's no exclusive agreements here. We don't care. And I think that could be like a really good thing for creators because we're more of like an indie platform. We'll put money into marketing the platform, but Netflix, if they want to blow up a specific piece of IP, like they'll put, this is not going to happen for many people, but for the five people it happens for, they might put $50 million into marketing one show directly to that show. The odds of Creatorwood doing that, it's just not our model. Like we're here to grow the net. Just like Kindle doesn't go and market one book, right? So
Right.
there's wins for individual creators in here. Mind you, the number of people who will win that big is extremely small. Like, it's like winning the lottery, but I wouldn't turn it down. But then the second thing is that, you know, I don't think a lot. So 80% of scripted, shows in Hollywood and movies in
Mhm.
Hollywood are now sequels and reruns.
Right.
That's where
Hmm.
most of the budget's going into. That's where most of the jobs are. I don't
Hmm.
see these franchises collapsing. Like, there's no way, and nor do I even claim to like Star Wars is gonna. People are probably still gonna love Star Wars in 10 or 20 years. I imagine, right? People are still gonna probably like Netflix has done a good job creating its own IP. Things like Stranger Things, it's probably still gonna be very popular. I imagine. There's plenty of like stalwart IP in Hollywood that like is just not gonna go anywhere. Now, with that said, in the 90s, 80% of budget was going into producing new IP. So
Mhm.
Hmm.
we've totally seen this turn where Hollywood's basically been in structural decline for the last 2 decades. And it's already been losing jobs. It's already been losing income on a year-over-year basis. And it's, yeah, it's gonna still be around. Like it's gonna do its thing, just like traditional publishing. Like, yeah, like Stephen King's books are gonna sell forever. I mean, pretty much, right? James Patterson, his books will sell forever. Nora Roberts, like the Queen, is she gonna keep selling? But is that a place really for like new creators to come up on? Is that a place that
Yeah.
obviously not? There's 600 scripted productions, counting sequels and reruns, made in Hollywood, and this is Hollywood meaning traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
each year. 600. Netflix is 150. They're producing 150 original IP. Now, here's the cost of it. Netflix spends about $15 billion a year on content. That's wild. So think about like how that money goes. If you were to spend $15 billion on the movie machine, you'd make roughly 4 million original productions, which is literally, I mean, it's a factor of a factor. It's exponentially greater than Hollywood's producing.
Yeah.
It's not just 1,000 times more, right? It's almost 10,000 times more. That's how much cheaper the cost is. It's not just 1,000 times cheaper in cost. Oftentimes, the cost is 10,000 times cheaper. So the thing is, yeah, Hollywood can still go along with its couple hundred productions, which have oftentimes hundreds, if not thousands, of people working on it. And those people, I hope, still have jobs. I'm not trying to take away from them here. Um, my whole thing is that they don't solve the problem that people really have. There's so many films that could exist that don't. And if we think that 600 scripted shows fill the demand for all people have in scripted content, I think we're sorely incorrect. There's
Mm-hmm.
2.7 million ebooks published each year. How much can we close that delta where, again, every story can be seen? There's clearly room for thousands. There's clearly room for tens of thousands. Could there be room for hundreds of thousands? Not saying that everyone's going to make a living, but could there be hundreds of thousands of shows produced a year? Obviously, right? And so I think that's the thing about Hollywood. And a lot of people in Hollywood, too, mind you, know this. And we have a lot of people in Hollywood, screenwriters, surprising amount of our people are screenwriters, who
Mm-hmm.
are like, you know what, Michael? Like, I love my friends in Hollywood, but like honestly, I've my what I'm writing, what I'm spending my nights and weekends working on has never been given a shot. And if this
Yep.
thing can
Mm-hmm.
finally bring it to life, yes. So there's a surprising amount of people in Hollywood who actually support this because who Hollywood really benefits right now is like, a group of
Big
5 or 6
money.
publicly traded companies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big PE,
Big
right?
execs.
Big
Mm-hmm.
execs, A-list actors. And honestly, I welcome maybe actually none of them except for the A-list actors, because if you are an A-list actor who wants to be part of this, we can literally just take your face, like if you give us the license, and you can act in 100 movies a year now and curate them. So you're acting in things you like, but you don't have to spend time on set and get a share of revenue. Like that's like the new model for a lot of these A-list actors that like we want to build out in Creatorwood. So if you are an A-list actor listening, the chances are low just because I don't think A-list actors listen to any podcast. But if you
No,
have the
I don't think that it's certainly not me.
you have the time to be here, like that's my call to action for them. Like if you're a creative person in this, like I want you to win. The gatekeepers will lose because the only reason gatekeepers have any value is because they have cash. And that's the whole point here is like we're trying to disaggregate needing money and capital from being a storyteller who has power. Because right now that's the storytellers who have power.
That's
Right.
impressive.
Exactly.
So, Troy, you've been
Absolutely
messing
love
with
that.
this, haven't you?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, I have.
Well, because
And it's
my question is going to be about that for you and for Michael here, because again, we kind of touched on this that we have this kind of anti-AI people going on, like seriously, there's a whole movement of people that if you're like not 100% created by humans, then they don't want to even talk to you. My question is to you, how are you even worried about that, or are you just walking over it and saying forget it if you don't want to have anything to do with
no.
this? And no.
Here's the thing. First of all, if people don't want anything to do with AI, then they're not going to want anything to do with this, and it's not going to matter. Right. But I think people that are just 100%, I don't want anything to do with AI related to anything at all, are just in a very dangerous position right now
Mm-hmm.
of like AI is not going to revolutionize the publishing industry like we've talked about, but it does free up your time to do the things that you love, like right. But Michael and I talked about this actually earlier in the week when we were looking at one of my projects and stuff like that. And part of it is that this does not eliminate the need for human effort. It is, you don't put in your script and boom, out comes a beautiful, well done movie. What comes out is the storyboard, and now you have to know story and how to organize. Like, so because I was looking at mine, and I'm like, the thing is, the AI, because of the way this particular story is told, it's a story within a story. So
Mm-hmm.
the AI said, well, I can make that into one story, which is actually a really cool approach to this particular story. And I'm like, that's really neat. But that also means I have to move that storyboard around a lot to make that actually work. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I think there's going to be a whole industry that sprouts up around this of people that want to make their movie with the movie machine, but they need a story consultant or they need somebody who's a prompt consultant who can write better prompts, or can
Yeah, that's
refine the
another
prompts
question I was
that
going to
come
have.
out, stuff like that. They can rearrange your storyboard to make it better. They know which shots are better than others. They've got a good eye, visual eye for that. So I think there's a whole industry of people that are going to come out of this where people are not only going to go and pay to have their video generated by the movie machine, but they're also going to need human editors and human story consultants and people like that to make really movies and visuals of your stories that are really
because
great.
we've talked
Because I
about this
can't.
before, because screenwriters are there. That's a totally different type of writing. So that would be an interesting thing to see happen, is that conversion of book to movie, because the reason that a lot of times books don't match movies exactly is because of that process. And
Yeah,
because
the sort of there's not in books it's a strength to not have visual information. And I've had
mm-hmm,
people kind of come to me like, well, now that I'm going to be writing a book and I want it to go into the movie machine, like, do I describe my characters in more detail? Do I describe scenes in more
mm,
detail? And I'm like, absolutely not. The medium
mm-mm,
of a book, the whole goal of it is the self-insertion, narrative immersion, where they're in the story, and giving them windows to be able to picture things themselves is the benefit. What makes what we do unique, because people ask us like, what makes you different from any sort of like AI video tool? And the answer is like, we are not an AI video tool. We are a movie machine. That's very different. We take an actual book and turn it into everything that needs to then happen to go into these models. And we abstract a lot of the technical things from you. So you don't need to learn how to prompt, for instance. So what we do is we store all the information we could gather about your story. We have many agents read through it. This happens in minutes during story processing. But in that, we fill in information visually about your book that
Mhm.
wasn't there. And then
oh
you can
wow,
say, do I want to change how this character looks? Do I want to change how this scene looks? But it's a generative process. So think of us as we're adapting your book into film, or if it's a script, like a script that would normally be for a screenplay and actually go and become from there, the storyboard. Great. Well, we detect that and treat that slightly differently because obviously that has actually some information in there that is there and some information that isn't, because those are super heavy on dialogue. They're not going to have
mm-hmm,
much indication on, oftentimes transitions,
you're right,
oftentimes most importantly camera movements, whereas the
mm-hmm,
book might have
Hmm.
some more visual cues. So it's
mm-hmm,
interesting, like both mediums of writing, but the whole goal is you are a writer. Don't change how you write. Upload to the movie machine. We're going to spin something out for you that's probably 95% of the way there. We're going to constantly keep getting
Hmm.
better. But that final 5% is work and it's taste, because you need to know what you want to change. You need to know how you want it to look.
Right.
And I think that's where it gets fun. It becomes like a whole new
mm-hmm,
art form. But Troy's
mm-hmm.
exactly right. There's going to be people who come in and, hey, I don't want to deal with this at all. Can I just hand it over to, the equivalent of like a narrator? Because I'm kind
Or
of
a
using,
screenwriter or something.
I
Mm-hmm,
hand it over to someone who's like a director, because I think that's what these people are
mm-hmm.
effectively going to be. They're directors.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
Hand it over to a director and pay them. And you know what? You pay someone a couple $1,000s to do this. Maybe it takes them an average 10 minutes for every minute of produced film. That seems pretty reasonable. Um, okay, great. Well, you're still getting a great film for under $10,000. That's mind-blowing. And you just had to hand them over your manuscript, do nothing else. So there's going to be people who are do that. There's already people we know who want to do that.
That's
Um,
exciting.
and I think on the anti-AI front, people will work through what they have to work through. The world's
Mm-hmm,
changing a lot right now.
mm-hmm,
Um, I get it. I would first just say like, um, I welcome everyone to use the movie machine. We're in
mm-hmm.
beta and already drowning, so there's no pressure to use the movie machine. Like we're good.
Right.
Like, we will have plenty of
No.
customers. So if you don't want to be a customer, that's fine. You won't get a movie either. And I think that's the whole point. You will not get a movie. You will not get it. I don't see how that happens. Not to be too blunt, but
Yeah,
the chances of that happening are net zero. So it's net new creation that this enables.
that's what's
This is not
exciting.
taking away from jobs. So I think AI is this big revolution. It's like saying being anti-AI entirely is kind of wild, because it's like AI is in everything and doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Anti, it's like being anti-computers. Like
Or
this,
anti-electricity.
right?
Yeah.
These things are not good for every purpose, right? So all
Mm-hmm.
AI is not. I'm not pro all AI. Like, oh my, there's
Right,
things
right.
of AI that I'm like, absolutely not. There's things that make me uncomfortable. In particular, a lot of these AI chatbot apps that are really guising as virtual girlfriends for people. I think that
Oh yeah.
can be very
Oh
damaging to
yeah.
society.
Wow.
Very, very
Mm-hmm.
damaging, right? But I don't see what we're doing as that. And I'm also the CEO and the guy creating it, so I definitely have an incentive to pitch you on why we're not destroying society. But I like firmly believe that this is like net extremely good. And it's something that like I've been in the author community for a long time. I've been relatively quiet about AI. I started becoming public about AI by couching it in these terms around giving power to
Mhm.
storytellers, expanding beyond the book. It was always my most popular things I said. I've now gone public with it. I've not gotten a single email of hatred.
That's good.
I've gotten one snarky comment on a Facebook post, but nothing. I mean, out of everything, and to the contrary, I've gotten more positive reaction, excitement for this than anything I've ever done. So
I think that I
Right.
know
Well,
why. And it's just because, like you said, it's the way you framed it, but also um you're right. You've opened up a door that has been closed to everybody.
well,
yeah,
and let me like the way I put it, the way I'm thinking of this is because like Hollywood asked me, well, what's going to stop everybody from just doing this? I'm like, it's
Oh,
not that
money. The
simple.
same way that they stops
Money,
them from
uh,
audiobooks. Not
or
everybody
from
does
being
it.
professional about publishing. But the thing
Hmm.
that I love about this is not taking anything away from Hollywood or anyone else because these are movies that would not be made any other way.
Hmm.
It's just like when people say, well, you're using AI graphics for your social media. Yeah, because I was never going to hire an artist to create my social media posts, right? That
Right.
was never going to happen. I'm not taking a job away from someone. I'm allowing myself to do something that would not have been done before. Like
Yeah.
it's not I'm taking away from a human job. I'm doing something that wasn't possible for me before.
So
And now I'm making it possible,
my
you know?
question's then this. I mean, could you see, I guess I see this from two different lenses, because of course I'm in the author space, right? So I'm like working with authors and helping them bring their books to, you know, have a voice when they wouldn't normally have even published, right? So that's my job, is like to help them do that. My question is this a good, like a good medium for authors that I work with, that basically would help them um not only, you know, like amp up their viewership and their, you know, their audience in different, in that, you know, publishing 4D, which is something that actually I think he coined from you, Michael. But or was it 4.0? 4.0? Was it
self-publishing.
4.0?
Yeah.
4.0? Yeah,
4.0.
publishing
I think
4.0.
it's 4.0 now. But 4D sounded kind of cool.
4D looks
Yeah,
cool.
That's
kind of
Yeah.
into that. I'm into
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
40,
Yeah.
yeah.
4D.
Uh,
That actually works.
um,
But yeah, but I can see authors using that like the same way that they would going when they're shifting to an audiobook, because you're opening it up to a new audience and you're giving your story another chance. But on the other side of this, I also have people in the film industry that are often looking for a good storyboarding program. And I'm wondering if your movie maker would actually help them with that storyboarding process, because they're always having to come up with a storyboard that they have to present to the movie studios. And I'm wondering, oh my gosh, I wonder if you would like use your tool for that too, or if they would just stick with you altogether and just say, screw selling this to
I mean,
any studio.
it's interesting. I would say I'll tackle that in reverse. So for the storyboards, I mean, it's very cost effective, but it costs someone an
Mhm.
average $50 to develop all their storyboards. And, whether it's 1,000 shots in the movie, like, it's something we do at a very efficient price. The thing is, we don't create traditional storyboards. And
That's okay. I
pe-
don't think a lot
people
of
have,
people do.
I think a lot of the storyboards, like the shot or frame from it, there's a
Hmm.
reason why we don't show those or surface those up front,
Hmm.
because um the if we were to generate, let's say, 1,000 images up front at the time of storyboard creation that are like your composite images for each shot, the cost to doing so would probably be something like, trying to do like quick math in my head, um
It's okay. You're from Stanford, right? You graduated from Stanford?
Harvard, but yeah, yeah,
Harvard. Oh,
Harvard.
sorry. Ooh, that's an
Harvard.
insult.
no,
Whew.
no, 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 Stanford's
So
great.
see, now I'm on the outs with Michael.
No, 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 no. Not at all. You're looking at like probably tripling the cost of ingest. Like
Oh,
for
wow. Okay.
Mhm.
because like the images are like non-trivial in expense,
Right,
especially
right, right, right.
for them. So
Mhm.
from like an efficiency standpoint, we're like, that's not great. So the storyboard will contain like images of, here's this character, here's this setting, here's this location, here's this object in it. But it's a little bit more of like a written storyboard that you then get to, okay, I like the action, I like the dialogue, I like the characters in it. Then we just dynamically then
You could
generate.
just produce, you just generate it and then they could
Yeah,
use that.
we generate it.
Mm,
They don't have to ever look at the prompting because we've abstracted that away. We take basically
perfect.
think about it on the back end, like here are the variables you have for your shot, and then we're feeding it in JSON, which I mean programmers know what I'm talking about, but we're feeding it in
Oh,
specifically to these models.
Yes,
I
Um,
hate JSON.
yeah, so
I
we're
love it.
these
Anyway,
these are all JSON prompts that we're then developing, but you don't see any of that, right? So and then we're
Good.
dynamically routing it to different models based on the context of the shot and adjusting how the prompt actually looks based on the model it's going to. And you never see any of that, you just see the storyboard. So all I have to say is like the storyboard is like basically designed explicitly for how do we take the gap between the story you uploaded, the story you want coming out, but then ultimately the translation between model and then how we can edit what goes into that model, right? So that
Nice.
translation like requires like you know my co-founder is like a genius with AI models, specific AI video models, and we're like doing that translation work for you. So I guess it's just not designed for like a traditional storyboarding process where we hand that storyboard off to humans. It's a storyboard that's being handed off to AI. So could someone find value in it? Maybe. For sure. I have people who, do
Well,
want to do that, but it's not
even
just
if they just use it to create and produce that video and then they turn around and they say, well, I've got this video or I've got this movie
well,
and it's
for
over on
sure.
this
There's
platform.
yeah,
people creating
that's
concept
that'd be an
videos.
expensive storyboard, though, if you think
No,
about. I
but
mean,
yeah, but like if even if
but I
they paid
mean,
the four
it
thousand
is
dollars,
proof of
whatever they produce,
concept.
yeah,
Well, but no,
It,
but you don't have
produce
to
it.
do like that's another thing. It's pay as you go, right? You can
Right.
so if you're creating like episodes of television, you might only be spending a couple $100s per episode
Right.
or cash out, right? Or if you just want to show a concept of a minute, we're talking maybe 30-ish dollars or so, right? So the actual cost like is super controllable. It's pay as you go. We don't have subscriptions. And I mean some people I'm sure will drop $1,000 in a weekend making a movie. That's possible. But my big thing, and this is where it comes to your question on the authors, is like we've designed because I'm like a business freak, is to like
Mm-hmm.
be be a system that allows you to optimize for the needs of your business. So let's zoom out here. If your total cost of a season is let's just say let's just use the number $4,000. It's pretty
Right.
fair. Um, so if you're selling it for somewhere between $10 and $20, let's just say
Mm-hmm.
you're keeping $10 on average, like after platform fees, after paying processing fees, you need to now sell 400 to break even. You need 400 customers, which is not nothing. But if you're an
Mm-hmm.
established author who is regularly selling $10,000 or more of a book when it comes out, I mean, you're going to earn out on this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's 100% because it might not happen for everyone, but like the audiobooks, and everyone who reads the ebook wants an audiobook. Obviously, it's almost a new audience. This is a new audience and captures your existing audience. Whereas from audiobooks, think about it from a lifetime value perspective. If I have a customer who comes into my
Mm-hmm.
business, audiobooks and ebooks are what's called like in economics, it's a substitute, right? They
Right.
substitute each other. It's the
Mhm.
same reading experience for the most part. You either choose one for the most part. There's some who choose both, but most don't choose both. Therefore, coming out with an
Mhm.
audiobook is a question of can I reach more readers and can I reach
Mm-hmm.
more readers in actually a slightly different market? Whereas
Right.
this is not necessarily that question. This is a complement to the existing product. Actually, in fact, having read the book makes the movie more valuable in many contexts. So,
Mm-hmm.
or the show. So then it becomes actually, I think, easier to earn out than audio because
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean, again, it's not 100% and there's no guarantees. Absolutely know that.
No,
But
but
like,
it makes sense because we do this.
yeah,
This is how we ingest our
Yeah,
media, right?
my
yeah.
brother and I read Forrest Gump 10 years before it came out as a movie, and I thought this book would make a great movie. And then 10 years later, it came out, and I didn't go, I've read the book. I'm not going to go to the movie. You don't do that. You don't. Yeah, I didn't go. Oh, Jack Reacher. I've
And then
read
what
those
you know
books.
what you
I'm
do
not
in
going to
that
watch
moment,
it.
you say,
You know.
you say to your girlfriend, or you say to your kids, or you say to your friends, like, I read this amazing book. We're all watching this show together. And then what ends up happening, and this is why you can charge more for shows and movies than books, because oftentimes the exact number is for YouTube. This is not even Netflix. Okay. I want to
Mm-hmm.
be so clear about this. For the average YouTube video watched on television, there's actually 1.3 viewers on average. And this is data that's direct from YouTube, not
Mm.
public knowledge at all. Knowing that, I would say that like Netflix is even higher. Something like Creatorwood is also going to be higher than 1.3. I don't know how high it's going to be, but think about like every one sale actually like by proxy, it like drives word of mouth because you're not having just one person tell another person, hey, go buy it, but they're actually going to experience it more likely. So then that person could go on and buy your book, first of all.
Hmm.
So movies and video and shows are just so much more viral. The format of long form episodic storytelling is the most viral format we've seen in storytelling, which is why these stories tend to capture people. So, um, it's in one way thinking about it as audiobooks is right. Like if you're ready for audiobooks, it's almost like I feel like everyone who has an audiobook should have a movie. And I'm saying that obviously being incredibly biased, but I really think it stands out. Like it maths out. But there's a whole group of
Hmm.
people that would never be able to make audiobooks work that movies are an incredible idea for.
Yeah.
It's the type of thing where like when you look at what you spend on ads, normally it's like, okay, I spend X money to acquire a customer. Maybe audiobook increases conversion rate up front, but it
Hmm.
doesn't meaningfully increase your LTV. It just might allow you to acquire more customers up front. This meaningfully increases your LTV because now you've doubled the products you can sell people. And it's another thing you can advertise too to then bring people into the books later. So
Exactly.
it's kind
Hmm.
of um so yes, it's like audiobooks, but also no, because like it's going to be
It
so much better.
complements. Yeah, yeah. And
Hmm.
that's what I mean. This is why I think it like, and if you haven't read and if you're not subscribed to Michael's Substack, you should go and subscribe. I'll put the link in the description as well because it's awesome. But you know, your whole idea of like building out an ecosystem for your fans and having more to digest than just those books and making sure that your audience is actually going to be able to ingest like your full creative like you know like there's no other better word. I think it's ecosystem of love, you know, your
Yeah.
brand that you're creating, and this just does that.
It,
It
I
just
learned this at
amplifies it.
Mr. Beast because like I can share some things publicly about the company, but a lot I can't talk about.
Right.
Uh, but I what I can share is they have hundreds of employees working full time. Like
Right.
it's 100 or 200, it's hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a massive operation that expenses would blow people's mind. How much it
Yeah.
costs to produce a video. It's not just the money he's giving away; it's an incredible amount that costs to go into video. The amount they make back on YouTube AdSense is typically a fraction of that. Even when they get
Mm-hmm.
advertisers coming videos, one could imagine how much money they're making in sponsorships. It's a lot of money on average per video. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it still oftentimes doesn't cover the cost of producing the video. So how do you have a video business where
You're
you
not even
actually
breaking even. Yeah.
you're not even breaking even, right? And the answer is majority of the revenue comes from chocolate now. Um, so they've created something beyond the screen, so to speak, that
Right.
does that. And I think, when I was there, I was lucky enough to be able to kind of see all of that and help out with some of it. But I think seeing that, I was like, it already proved the thesis I knew. And because if anyone knows what I did in book publishing before this, it was helping authors make money in non-traditional means to like connect with their fans. And it kind
Right.
of like me double down on this thesis. And even since then, like the work I do behind the scenes for creators is I don't just like, you know, I don't just hop on and tell them how to get more YouTube views. Like I work with people who already are getting plenty of them. And I think my advice on that is like not that great. It's like, how do we help you make more money from your audience? And when I tell you like this is the problem that everyone's trying to figure out, not just
Mm-hmm.
authors. And I've been fortunate enough to like get the inside scoop on how like incredible people are doing this. So the tough part is that, someone at scale when they're making an incredible amount of money is able to bring in someone like me as a consultant, is able to hire someone like me full time. That is absolutely not cheap, by the way, for anyone who's wondering.
No.
You're not going to be able to do that that cheaply. So, and I'm fortunate, by the way, that I get these opportunities, but it's not something that like really, no matter how big authors are, very few in the world could even imagine affording it. And I think because of the total addressable market or the size of the publishing industry, there's very few where it might even make sense for me to, unless they were really willing to get freaky with me, meaning like not in that, but like are you willing to like
Oh, darn
really,
it.
Well,
yeah, unfortunately. But if you're really willing to experiment, because I think there is more scaled up opportunities that people don't expect, but it's not selling merch. Like like we have to like get really first principles. Whereas a bigger creator could still see a very good ROI with me, even if they decide not to go down my crazier ideas because
Mhm.
there's enough easy wins because of the size of their audience. Author audiences just aren't typically as big. So it's just like a numbers game, right? Now, mind you, I create a free newsletter where I give you as much as I can for free. So like there's that. But the bigger thing is that like all the medium that most people are watching is video. Now authors can break into that. So what this does is two things. One, incredible way to go beyond the book cost effectively and do everything I'm
Mhm.
saying. But even more than that, the best and biggest ones here will grow their audience base well beyond what their readership would have ever been. And now some of the crazy stuff that I share in my newsletter that to some people that goes like, this makes no sense, now starts to make sense. And what you can do, which is what all the best creators are doing, is they're not doing this themselves. They're hiring general managers. They're paying them, upside plus six-figure salaries and getting really smart, talented people to basically incubate businesses for them, which sounds like science fiction,
Right.
but it's happening.
Right.
Creators are the new startups. But if you have the distribution nailed down, you can be huge. The problem is the distribution that authors have, normally it's still meaningful, but it's not big enough again to start to make these big out-of-pocket investments into like I'm not an expert at like building a CPG brand. I'm not an expert at building an app, but like I am an expert at telling stories. So I just want to focus on that. That's what these people do. But the answer is that their stories have reached a much bigger scale than yours have because
Right.
they're in video. But now you can be in video. So I see like a super exciting world in the next couple years, whereas like this industry matures, this new industry, we're gonna see like fictional storytellers start to do these things. And it's like, you know, think about the business that Disney built and all of Hollywood's built around what they've done. Like now that's
Mhm.
accessible to people creating fictional content. I mean, that is unbelievable. So I can't wait to see where it goes in a couple years when it's like it goes beyond movie money and beyond show money to like let's start to talk real. And another thing in this ecosystem that I'm really excited for as well is like advertisers, right? Because
Right.
advertisers don't typically see value in books, A, because of scale, right? It's not worth it for an advertiser to deploy a couple $100s on a creator when they could go
Right.
spend $10,000 with the same admin cost on somewhere else. Rarely is like the CPM in books like uh, you'd have to get to spend have a brand spend $10,000 and you're gonna have to get like maybe like 3,000 readers reading your book, which there are authors who could do that. But then like what does an ad look like in a book? It's super unclear.
Yeah.
The ad product in television and movies is completely known. Like we know what that ad product is, we know how to sell it. So at scale, as this ecosystem grows, it becomes not just then the ability to have everyone make money selling shows and already selling books, but now everyone can make ad revenue too, which like should not be snuffed at. Ad revenue is a massive, massive revenue stream. So instead of, you paying Amazon, all of a sudden Amazon starts paying you. And I think that's
Right.
what can happen here, which is incredibly exciting to me too. So like the business machine that can be built around this is just so much more interesting to me than what's possible in books, mostly because of the size, right? It's just a fact more people watch movies and shows than read books, and that's
Mhm.
that's what makes this exciting.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
So as a storyteller, and this is where what I'm thinking, I mean, like this is where my brain goes, and I mean, this is an exciting outlook to have. But lately, it seems like there's just a regurgitation of old ideas that are being like reproduced. Um, let's just talk about the release of the recent, we're re-releasing Highlander. I'm like, why are we redoing stories that we've already done
Yeah.
over and over and over again? This
Freakier
is such,
Friday.
yeah,
Freakier
freaky,
Friday. Yeah.
right?
Anyway.
Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's just like, we're just, it's like we're re-throwing up the same garbage. And I was just laughing like inside just now because I have a crazy daughter who's in film and she does line production and stuff, and she loves animation. But one of the things that she loves is she loves the Japanese studios because they're coming out with new storytelling, new stories that we don't have here. And she goes, I wish that somebody would just stop regurgitating. I wish there would be new stories. And I just thought about this whole new platform and this whole new way that people can like
That's what's going to happen.
ingest new stories,
Hmm.
new fiction. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to net grow the market, and what we're going to see happen
Mhm.
is what happened in indie publishing, where all these subgenres that now have emerged in the world of indie publishing now can exist in film and be profitable. And we're at this
Yeah.
really weird stage of the next few years where there's so much like low-hanging fruit where it's like, oh yeah, there's never been a film made there's never been like a dark romance mafia film made before. There's never been a small town cozy mystery made before. So like, what if you were
Right.
the person who made it? And it's just like, oh my God, there's no comment. Like we're kind of for a little bit, I'm obviously already thinking to like market maturity because I'm a futurist, but like we're
Yeah.
going to be in this gold rush period for a little bit, which I want to tamper expectations. This does not mean everyone will make money, but there's going to be some really easy wins here for folks who like are intelligent about it. And that's what I teach people is like find the story gap in the marketplace, create a pilot, see if you
Mhm.
can like get traction on the pilot for a couple $100. If you can double down, you can produce 200 episodes or something, right? Like
Right.
there's no limit here. And like some of the best TV shows have been going on for 40 years now. So, you find one winner and like, winning television shows have made networks billions of dollars. You don't need to make billions of dollars,
Mhm.
but you can make millions of dollars. You can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. And all of that can be life-changing. And here's the big thing to note. I concurrently with my experience in publishing and creator economy, I've been for a while immersed in the world of tech. And I see what's happened in tech or what is the problem of tech, very similar to the problem of Hollywood, which is this. The If you choose to go down the venture capital route, which I think there's merits to and merits against, and this is not a conversation about that, but what venture capital means, it's outside capital that comes into your company to produce,
Right.
to make your company bigger. But the scale that's needed to return, because so much of these things are losses and don't return, the things that win need to be really big. So everything that's gone after needs to have the potential to be a big hit. And this is why, in the world of software, you've been able to bootstrap technology for a long time in many different sectors. Sectors that don't have this ability yet are like biotech, which maybe
Right.
bring costs down, where if you can bootstrap a biotech company, now we can create a cure for rare diseases that now this is so sad, but people can't get money for because it's not profitable enough. Even if it's
For the
profitable, the
yeah.
potential scale doesn't match the return of the risk.
Right.
This is so crappy. So like that healthcare is a whole other thing, right? But movies has the same problem because you have outside capital that's venture like, right?
That's
It's
exactly
outside
true.
returns, high risk. So the only way to even make a movie make sense is for it to be massive. It needs to be a
Right.
massive movie,
Mhm.
right? So any movie that has a shot at making a couple $1 million, $10 million, doesn't even get produced. Like if that's what they think the market is. But it's like, think about all the niche stories now that can be produced that have much smaller potential market. And sometimes, oftentimes, the small potential market ends up becoming a big one. But
Yeah.
regardless of that, like the whole long tail, there's no long tail in movies. Now there's a long tail that can exist. And what's going to end up happening, mark my words, is Hollywood will find IP from here, just like Trad does now in indie.
Oh my
They'll
gosh,
borrow
totally.
from it,
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
then they'll
Hmm.
do their, like, what Hollywood's good at is just remake that shit, remake that shit. Like, go
They're
for it. You can do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah, as long
literally
as you
what it
get
is.
paid.
It
I
becomes
mean,
That
growth stage
right.
capital
as
versus,
an author, I'd be
Yeah.
like, I wrote the book, I did the audiobook, I made the movie. Oh, you want to option the rights now? You betcha.
You
Go
betcha.
ahead.
Yeah.
Option those as long as the check clears, my man. I mean,
That
you know what I
but
mean?
that's
Like, but
I've
yeah,
told
I
people
mean,
from the
it's life
get-go,
changing.
there's a whole
Life
reason
changing.
why there's a whole reason trad is still around, and really frankly it's because they figured out how to be profitable be profitable on being lazy, because they've just found the authors that are already making money, or that they can, like, that already have a following, and they won't even
yeah.
look at you unless you do.
And I think
So
that actually it's healthy to have that ecosystem because um,
mhm,
every, if we think about ourselves as entrepreneurs, we all need the ability to exit. To now
mhm,
say that like you can create IP, sell it, sell the rights, get a lot of cash up front, and not have to manage the IP, like the business side
mhm,
of the IP anymore, and out of it to a certain subset of people is going to be really valuable. Like there's exit liquidity now, which is amazing.
mhm.
Um, the problem is that's not actually how it works right now, but it can work that way.
It
And
can work that way though.
the size of this liquidity is huge because if you think about what publishers spend producing IP in a given year, which is like maybe hundreds of millions of dollars, and then what Hollywood's used to spending on IP, which in
Mhm.
aggregate is tens and tens and tens of billions of
It's
dollars each year,
ridiculous.
that is a true market now
Mhm.
where creators can see and storytellers can see again an exit because the toughest part behind everything that we're doing is like who wants to buy these assets, which like a lot of people don't think about, but it's like then you die and your family has to manage it, or it just peters out. Like who's managing this IP? And this is still where traditional publishers have value.
Mhm.
That's where Hollywood's going to have value too, and it's going to be really important.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right. And I think, yeah. Well, I'm really excited to see where you take this, Michael. Holy cow. Your brain, your brain just makes my brain explode. So good job.
Yeah.
So are you going to be at Author Nation this year? Are we going to be able to see you?
I will. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay, awesome.
storytelling, and data. So
Wow. Okay. Well,
Awesome.
everybody, if you are here and you haven't yet bought your tickets for Author Nation, it's in Las Vegas this November. You guys need to go and meet Michael. He is a rock star, and I'm sure that we're going to see major big things from you. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen big things from you in the past. Holy crap. We're going to just like, you're going to
I
take
might
the
and
world
I might
by.
rope you in on my presentation of because I'm going to do a plot on the spot. I think you'd be a good
Ooh,
story
that would
idea
be
guy for
fun.
that.
I would love to. Yeah, make me your
Make a guinea pig story
I'm
out
your
of
guinea
you.
pig.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
no,
fun.
You can be
excited.
my Vanna White and just turn the letters.
Let's
Oh
do
my
it.
gosh.
That'd be an honor. That'd be an honor.
Turn the letters.
No, I'm
Come
happy
on.
to do it. I would think that'd be
Well, I mean,
Michael,
we'd do
come
more
on.
than
you can
that,
No.
talk
but you know what
faster.
I mean.
Talk
It
faster.
would be fun. It would be fun. It's
I also
more
get
than
You
to
turn
guys,
the
become part of the
letters.
plot at that point. Like that's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. You become part of the plot. It's super
That's
fun.
awesome. Well,
Those plot on the
Michael,
spots are a blast. We'll just have
tell
fun. It's all
everybody
right.
where they can find this and where they can find you. And then I'll make sure that we have the links in the description as well.
Yeah, I mean, first, I actually recommend people read. It's a free book I wrote called Creatorwood. It's at blog.creatorwood.tv. So just creatorwood.tv is our main site, but if you go to the blog.creatorwood.tv, you can find it. It's about an hour read, but it's really a crash course on not only how Creatorwood works, but like this whole emerging economy, how I'd approach it and think about it from the business perspective, the creation perspective. Again, it's really the crash course. And on the mailing list too, like there's a ton of like there's a sequence of like 12 emails. It's probably annoying, but like you get so much information, not only about the platform,
It's
but
not
more
annoying.
and like
It's
so
good.
much business information, right? About like how to think about making money from it. Because that's the way we make this sustainable. I mean, one, like we have an incentive. Like if you make money and create, we make money with you. So of course I want that. But most importantly, like that's how you make more movies. So this is how you make it sustainable. Two is obviously Creatorwood itself. We're publicly launching at the end of September. We're doing a little event, a conference, which you'll hear about if you sign up for the mailing list. I'm excited for it. It's just a 1 day summit. I'm going to be like spilling info for like 8 hours straight.
Oh
We'll
my
do
gosh.
a watching session. It'll be fun. Yeah, it's going to be an intense day. But we're launching it then. So if you want to join the waitlist for Creatorwood, it's at make.creatorwood.tv. I am letting some folks in early off the beta list. And then otherwise, I have like a whole world for authors at authorsidekick.com. I'm
Yes.
still running that newsletter. I love it. And I actually am I came back to the industry and I was gonna launch Reader Meter, which is like a whole other conversation. But I have like a cool software project that I think will be like very helpful for authors that is still on track to launch this year. We are like in alpha. Alpha takes a surprising amount of time, so I don't know how long we'll be in alpha. But when I roll it out, it's gonna do one thing, which is help you understand when readers stop turning the page in your story, so you can make better books.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. I
Oh,
love that
I
idea.
might have to have you come back on and talk to me more about that. That is
Yeah, that could be a whole
fantastic.
other conversation. That's also what I'm talking about at Author Nation, not explicitly the software, mind you, but talking about how to use data in your storytelling to inform making better stories and obviously making your business better. And for context, that's basically what I did at Mr. Beast. I was like the weird data guy, who was like, how do we go more viral using data? So, anyways,
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
that's
Well,
awesome.
that'll be worth every penny of your ticket sale then if you go to Author Nation and listen to
Yep.
that. Holy crap. I'm excited about
And
that one.
I just got an idea for you, Michael, so I will contact you
Oh,
later
for the
about an
love of
idea to
Pete.
do for Author Nation. Because
love it.
I think we could do a really cool thing together and it'd be super fun.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
for the
I'm
love
down.
of Pete.
I'm
Here we
down.
go.
I'm down.
What?
There's a Barbie house. You can come to the Barbie house. I'm like literally got a Barbie house in Vegas, so that's a thing too.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm
that's
doing like
right.
it's the 2 days before the conference starts. I got like a Barbie house that we're doing a mastermind in. It was kind of a silly excuse to like get a Barbie house, and I was like, yeah, like we'll do. Um, so yeah, there's a Barbie house.
I
And
always thought it was going to be our house. The
I'm sorry. The mastermind seats are full at the time of recording, but if someone wants to like drop the weekend, you can still just come by. No fee, nothing needed because like I just did the mastermind to cover costs. Like I was like, it's irresponsible if I spend like $4,000 on a Barbie house myself. But if like we all chip in as a group of writers and split the cost, then it makes sense. So I have the people in who are splitting the cost and like officially part of the weekend. But if you want to like come for like an evening or something, I don't know, maybe we figure something out. But
Maybe Sunday evening we could do that. We're gonna come in Sunday
Sunday evening,
evening
it's
anyway.
gone. We're on the strip Sunday evening, so it's only like Friday.
Oh,
We're doing like Friday, Saturday night, and then Sunday till 3 p.m. That's when I have this place. So
They have to check out.
oh, okay. And
They
then
have to check out.
Sunday you're on the strip.
yeah,
Are you
then I
gonna
come
be
to
it?
the strip, yeah, and then we have like a
Yeah.
big thing for
All
Creatorwood.
right.
Very
Yeah, I'll
cool.
be that. I'm coming in Sunday afternoon. I have a writer's retreat that a friend of mine and I are running in October, and we have 1 week between that
Literally
and Author
1 week
Nation. So like I
between.
get home
Oh wow,
on
okay.
Sunday and I have a week and then I leave for Author Nation on the following Sunday. So I'm like
All
anyway,
you people
so
are psycho. It's great.
I know. I'm aware.
Well, next time we can do the Barbie
Well,
Yeah,
tradition.
for sure.
I'll definitely come to the Barbie house just for the sake of being at a Barbie house. Holy crap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so
Yeah.
much for coming on here, Mike. You like honestly, Michael, you blow my mind. Like seriously, you're amazing. So I love that we got to talk and good luck with your move. Sounds
yeah,
exciting.
I have to pack tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. Well,
It'll
good
be
luck
easy.
with
I'm
that.
not bringing any objects. I'm bringing like clothes and like thing. Like I'm not bringing objects with me, so it's a pretty easy move.
Oh, well, then that's pretty
There you
easy,
go.
but still, it's
That's
still kind
simple.
of chaotic a little bit. Every time the whole thought of moving for me, it just gives me anxiety. So I'm proud of you for even adventuring out of the house.
Mhm.
But anyway, so thanks again. And like I said, everybody, the descriptions are going to be in all these links and everything that Michael mentioned. We're going to put these in the description. And we look forward to seeing you guys again next week. And remember to like, subscribe. We'll talk to you another time, Michael. I'm going to have you back on. We're going to talk to you about that other stuff.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.